Hey, yo, to the Irish out there, the Irish ladies and gentlemen, the Irish, the fellas, happy St. Patrick's Day. Happy Corned Beef, National Corned Beef and Cabbage Day. Yeah, you know your boy on the YouTube version. He had to put the nice slick black hoodie on right now. Ooh, we had to get that chain popping. We had to, even on the Day of the Irish, even on St. Patrick's Day, we still had a rep for us Guidos out there, if you will. All us good fellas, we had a rep for all them motherfucking Guidos out there. But what are you going to do? How you doing today? Welcome to Wednesday, a massive slate where it's 10 games and there's just a shit ton of injury news where every single team seems to be saying, you know what? We've had a rough week. Hump day, yeah, we're going to be taking off. We're going to be taking off today, so we got to get through all that shit first. But we'll get through all that injury news very quick. We'll be live later today at around 4:15, 4:30 East Coast time breaking down this slate, and we'll also be live around 1 p.m. talking about some golf. We'll be talking golf at 1 p.m. for the Honda Classic, so live a couple times today. You get to see this mug. You get to see this fucking mug, this fucking chain another time. So hopefully you all having a lovely, lovely day. We're breaking down the injury news. Like, subscribe, do those things. And we're breaking down the top 12 plays of the day right now, and it's tough. It's tough because I'll be honest with you. Most days, 12 plays, it's kind of tough to get the 11th and 12th on there because they kind of look like the rest of the guys. Today, just like yesterday, there was a ton of value. Today, there's already an insane amount of value, right? A loaded amount of value that's only going to increase. So let's quickly get through the injury news right now. Let's schmeck ya with it right now, and let's get into it. So the Rockets, the Rockets are just something else. This fucking Rockets team, man, they're on the back-to-back tonight. John Wall's expected to miss already. Victor Oladipo is not expected to play. David Nwaba is out an extended period of time. It's still doubtful that they're going to be having Christian Wood out there. So right now, this Rockets team has 9 bodies if Ben McLemore and Daniel House return today, who both missed yesterday. So if they want to play a game today, one of those guys has to return, if I'm doing my math correctly. One of those guys has to return unless Kyrgios returns out of nowhere, which he hasn't played in weeks, and there hasn't really been an update on Radanis Kyrgios, the former Brooklyn Net. So we'll have to see what happens there. The Rockets are all over the place right now, but yeah, their best players are all out. Oladipo and Wall are expected to both be out today, so shout out Kevin Porter Jr. and shout out the only guys who actually suit up today. OG Anunoby for the Raptors is out. You have Pascal Siakam questionable, and Fred VanVleet is going to be doubtful today. For the Pistons, just a couple of depth pieces for the most part. Dennis Smith Jr. is questionable, Wayne Ellington doubtful, and Rodney McGruder questionable, but they're down a decent amount of bodies as well. Monty Morris is out for Denver. It's led to a little bit more run for PJ Dozier and Campazzo, both playing around the low 20s in minutes, right around there. DeRozan remains out for his personal matter. The Miami Heat also have a bunch going on today. Andre Iguodala, Mo Harkless, Avery Bradley, some depth pieces, but those depth pieces like Iggy play 18 minutes or so in the game. They're all going to be missing today. Jeremy Lamb is questionable. For the Wizards, the Washington Wizards today, Davis Bertans is going to be probable, and Rahul Neto is going to be questionable. A big old piece of news right here because, yes, very underrated big old piece of news because Serge Ibaka is questionable. They're going to be facing, I believe, Dallas for the second straight game. In that last game, you saw Vichas Zubac play 35 minutes in that game. If that happens again, same team, same place, same time. If Serge Ibaka is out, big news right there. And Hassan Whiteside remains out. Nobody really cares about Hawan Whiteside news, the Hassan Whiteside news. So we'll get into the top 12 plays. Number 12 is somebody that, even though he's very cheap, I'm still kind of hesitant on. So it's Daniel Theis from the Boston Celtics, who played last night, second night of a back-to-back. This is if Tristan Thompson was to miss again. Tristan Thompson did not play on Tuesday because of COVID protocols, so my guess would be that he's not playing today in the back-to-back, but we'll have to see. But here's the thing about Daniel Theis. His price point is very cheap at $4,100. You're going to look at Daniel Theis yesterday, and a lot of people might say, oh, let's just insert him right into our power forward spots today because he scored 39.75 fantasy points yesterday. But keep this in mind. Yes, he had a double-double. That is good to see. He also shot 13 times. He shot 7 of 13, 54%. That's more attempts and better of a percentage than he normally has. But the bigger thing here is that he had 6 assists. This is not an assist percentage player, right? So at $4,100, his price point stays the same as yesterday. That's why he is appealing because hopefully we can get this starting spot out of him. They started Semi Ojeleye yesterday for Tristan Thompson. Daniel Theis started yet again. But if a lot of people go to it, he's a guy that I can get off of because he shot well, he got volume, and he had 6 assists. And I'll pull up right now, add more funds. You can track this down below. It's a free site if you just want to look at on-off tools. But you can see right here is Daniel Theis, and you can see in this column right now is his assist percentage. So that's his assist percentage, 8%. 8% assist percentage, having 6 assists in 23 minutes is clearly an outlier. Normally that's going to get you 1 to 2 assists. And oh yeah, Daniel Theis in his last 4 games combined has had 2 assists. That's more like it for Daniel Theis. So expect 1 to 2 assists today, which means you're dropping out right away, just immediately on like 6 to 8 of the fantasy points that he had in that game. So Daniel Theis, because he remains so cheap, if there's no Tristan Thompson, is a top 12 play today, but I want to make make you aware of the red flags if there is ownership that comes in on him. The number 11 play today is going to be Kelden Johnson. And I get it. People are like, why are we going back to the Kelden Johnson train? Because the minutes are there. This is now back-to-back games when the minutes are there. One of them was not realized because of a blowout. In that last game, it was realized he got to 32 minutes. They still have no DeRozan. They still have no Aldridge. They still have guys that don't play full minutes all the way yet there, like Rudy Gay, because he's just old at this point. And I don't expect Kelden Johnson to only shoot 4 of 9, right? I expect Kelden Johnson to start taking more shots. I don't expect Kelden Johnson to only have 1 assist in a game. So Kelden Johnson in 32 minutes that last him out scores 20 fantasy points in a game where he could not be more irrelevant in that game. This is a strong player. This is a .95 fantasy point per minute producer so far this season. People are going to sleep on him today because they're going to see he finally got the minutes. No, he's been getting the minutes, right? 24 minutes the game before that, but they lose by 35 to the Sixers. He was going to play 30 plus minutes in that game if you kind of take out the blowout just based on what he played in the first half of 15 minutes. He's an appealing play today. He's even appealing at a 1.75x multiplier in Superdraft, but I like Kelden Johnson because, yes, I know that Daniel Theis will pick up some ownership if Thompson is out. I know there's going to be a lot of guys from Houston picking up ownership today and some other teams. I think that Kelden Johnson should pick up ownership. I think that he's going to project out for me in the upper 20s, if not low 30s today, and he's not going to pick up ownership. People are going to sleep on him. Keep on sleeping. My eyes going to be wide fucking awake. Isn't that the worst when you stay wide awake, though? It's like the worst when you can't sleep in the middle of the night, whether you took a nap in the afternoon, you had coffee too late in the day, you just got the night sweats because you had a badass nightmare that somebody saw you naked in public on a train station or somebody touched you or something like that, right? Isn't that just the worst when you just can't sleep all night? I'll rest my case. Terrible. All right, to the top 10 we go, and before we get into the number 10 play, which is Mr. Delon Wright yet again on this sheet because, oh, baby, is there's value galore. I mean, it's just, I hate that these guys continue to be on the same slate together. Harden, Jokic, Giannis, they continue to be on the same slate. And every single slate, they're 60 to 70 point burgers. And they're not at $12,000 or $11,500 where they should be. For whatever reason, DraftKings can't get these guys over $11,100 this year. And it makes it really difficult on slates like this to not just go and get 2 of them, just like 2 days ago when Giannis goes off for 70 plus and Jokic is scoring 60 plus and they're top 2 scorers in the slate and everybody can see it from a mile away. If you're not going double studs these days, I really don't know what you're doing. But let's get into, before we keep going, the sponsor of the show. And the sponsor of the show is going to be Prize Picks. And Prize Picks, if you have not been kicking it with us on these live streams at around 4:15 to 4:30, once news starts to break, it is just a free-for-all on Prize Picks. Yesterday, I made a tweet and I went live. I actually went live on Periscope yesterday, 20 minutes before lock, after we did the live stream on YouTube, just to kind of talk through some stuff as I was updating projections. And once Clint Capella got ruled out, John Collins was at a 32. John Collins was at a 32 over-under for his fantasy points, right? He scored 46, by the way, and we had him projected for like 40.5, somewhere around 41, and you could have got him at over 32 fantasy points. These don't update immediately. They take a couple of minutes. They might not even take 5 to 10 minutes. In general, they're weaker lines. So what Prize Picks is, you can take the over-under on single stats, right? Or you can take it on fantasy points like you're seeing on the screen right here. Now, early in the day, they only normally have like 8 options for you. Then later in the day, they get to like 40 options on their props board. But this is very appealing to me. It's very, very appealing to me. So obviously, you can take advantage of when injury news comes out. You can take advantage of a lot of different things. So what I want to do here is just build an early in the morning one. So I have already done this based on the projections I have today. I want the over on Giannis, somebody who's projecting out for close to 60 points to me. It's kind of appealing for me to get to the over on Harden as well, who's also projecting out for over his 54. But let's go down here to Mr. Collin Sexton. So Collin Sexton is at a 31.5 over under, and he has been struggling lately. So we'll take the over on Sexton, 31.5 on Prize Picks. By the way, the really great thing for you watching this is that you can get the $100 match, or just up to $100. If you put in $10, they'll give you 10 back. You put in 20, they'll give you 20 back. They match you 100% up to $100. That is just free money. So if you're like, I only got $25 to spend on something like this, well, you can put in $12 and then they'll match you the other 12 and you got 25. Or if you want to put your 25 in, you just doubled your bankroll. You got an actual legitimate bankroll to play with. People are winning in the Discord. Skyler in the Discord played his first time, 3x his money. People reaching out to me on Twitter as well. Somebody turned, I believe, like $250 into $1,000 already in a week on Prize Picks. So not bad at all. But yeah, we can flex those two together. We can take over here the over on Giannis and the over on Collin Sexton. You could use that code SAL. It's linked down below in the description. You click that link, use the code SAL on Prize Picks, and you can take advantage of it. I cannot tell you how soft these lines are, generally speaking. Normally, a couple of these lines will be very weak, and you can take easily the over or the under. Yesterday was a pretty easy choice to take the under 40 points for Bam Adebayo, considering the fact that he was not going to be on a minutes limit, but be limited in his stretches. So basically a minutes limit, only got 37 points. That one hit for us as well. So be sure to get on these live streams. Be sure to take advantage of it. If you're a Patreon right now, you have access to my projections. They're going to virtually transfer over here. There's just a little bit of a difference between assists and blocks. Virtually transfer over. You should be taking advantage of that. Check it out down below. The number 10 play on the day now, numero 10, is going to be Delon Wright, who's somebody I continue to go back to. Now, sadly, he's not shooting guard eligible anymore. $5,800 5,800. The price point is slowly coming up, right? It was 55, then 56, but he's playing the minutes. I'm going to project him for 32 minutes. I'm going to project him for over a fantasy point per minute producer. Now that we know that there's some other guys that just aren't there anymore. I mean, like Derrick Rose not even on the team. Also, he's still hurt with the Knicks, and just some other guys that are going to be out today. Detroit down a couple of bodies. So there's a really good chance Delon Wright could play 34, 35 minutes before the All-Star break. Before he got hurt, you were getting 35, 36, 37, 39 minutes in 4 of the 5 games before the All-Star break. And Delon Wright, here's a bigger thing about him. These last couple of games, he's just not shooting well. He's just not getting everything that he can out of it, right? This last game, he shot 4 of 11, so just 36%. I expect Delon Wright to shoot a little bit better than that. Just pulling up again on Add More Funds, Delon Wright this season, you can see this first column is his effective field goal rate, 52.5. Not great, but a lot better than the 36 he had last game. So obviously that was an outlier. He just shot poorly, and a 56.8% true shooting percentage. He also has about a 26% assist rate, so that gets you there in some other games, like he had 8 assists in that last game. Basically, here's the thing. If he gets you his assist rate, if everything clicks for Delon Wright, right, he plays the minutes, which seem likely. He gets his shot attempts. He actually makes them 50% of his shots or so, and he gets you the assists. Delon Wright is going to be securing, even if he doesn't play 35 minutes, just 32, 35 to 36 fantasy points. Once he starts playing 35, 36 minutes, he has 40-point upside rather easily. So he's getting this slow price bump as he's shooting poorly, but even when he's shooting poorly, he's still been getting you there at over 30 fantasy points, over 31.5 in back-to-back games. Our number 9 play in the day is going to be Will Barton, somebody that I just can't stop but get back to. So you have no Monty Morris today, so Will Barton continues to get this minute security. He's small forward eligible, which is another guy in this top 12 that's small forward eligible that is very surprisingly small forward eligible because he plays power forward, but Will Barton plays small forward, but Will Barton's minutes are the biggest thing here. Monty Morris being out now, yes, it helps PJ Dozier, it helps Campazzo, maybe it helps RJ Hampton whenever he will return, but Will Barton has seen a major minutes increase and an elevation to his floor. Earlier, like a month or a month and a half ago, he was only playing like 26 minutes a game, 28. Now he's firmly in the 30s, right? He's played 36, 34, 30. That 30-minute game came in a blowout, 31, 36, and 39 minutes. His shot attempts are going even higher because he's playing more minutes, right? Instead of shooting 8 or 9 times, he shot in the last 30 games 16, 17, and 14 times, scoring 43, 34.5, and 35.75 fantasy points. There is something to be said about Monty Morris being out. Look, it's not going to give Will Barton 10 or 15 more minutes, but it takes him from playing 30 minutes to maybe getting him to 34 minutes. And that security and that different type of 4 more minutes of play for a guy who averages 0.85 fantasy points per minute is pretty massive when his price point is staying stagnant, right? This guy has been priced at 5,400 a couple games back. He continues to score over 30 points, scored over 40 points last time out, and he's still priced at 5,400 in a quality matchup against Charlotte today. You get the small forward eligibility. Will Barton is my number 9 play on the day. Number 8 is that power forward who is small forward eligible. This is assuming that Taurean Prince remains out and Kevin Love remains out, right? I believe Kevin Love will remain out. I believe Taurean Prince, no updates there on him. He's been out for a while now, will remain out. So if Larry Nance is going to be starting at power forward again, he is small forward eligible. You have to be taking advantage of this. Yesterday, somebody reached out on the Discord. He's like, I'm kind of worried about how much you like Larry Nance today because I was ending up getting like 30-something or 46% originally. Then I ended up with like 30-something%. It worked out for us, right? He was $4,700 yesterday. He scores 34.5 fantasy points. We cannot sleep on Larry Nance. And even if you go to Add More Funds or an on-off tool and look at his fantasy points per minute, it's not going to be accurate, right? It's not going to be accurate. So let's do it right now. Let's go to this, and if you look at it, it's going to tell you that Larry Nance is much worse than he actually is. So Larry Nance is right here, and it's going to tell you that he averages 0.81 fantasy points per minute, and it's going to tell you that he only gets a 17.7% defensive rebounding rate. I'm highlighting those on the screen. That is all wrong because most of that time, a lot of his 731 minutes of play this year has been with Andre Drummond. If we take Andre Drummond off the court, you're going to see those numbers look a lot better because Andre Drummond's 40% defensive rebounding rate clearly is going to hurt somebody like Larry Nance. So when you take Drummond off the court, you get a very small sample because Nance was out for a very long time when Drummond stopped playing. You're getting literally like a sample of that last game, right? So Larry Nance right now, he's going to seem like he only averages 0.8 fantasy points per game. If he's starting at power forward yet again today against a team that in Boston could potentially be smaller today if they start Semi Ojeleye again with a Daniel Tice. Although if Tristan Thompson is out for COVID, I think that there's a chance Robert Williams can start in this game just to get size with Larry Nance and Jared Allen. But $4,700, the price isn't changing. 1.65x multiplier over on Superdraft. This is a very good spot if Kevin Love and Taurean Prince remain out because of the fact that he's small forward eligible for a guy that I'm going to project out today for around 34 minutes. He played 38 minutes yesterday and around a fantasy point per minute, which he averaged well over that yesterday. So Larry Nance, our number 8 play. Now to our number 7 play in the day, it's going to be KJ Martin, and this is going to be interesting because if just one of Ben McLemore or Daniel House sit, it opens up a lot of upside for KJ Martin in this game. KJ Martin continues to close out games. He closed out yet another game yesterday. So this is pulling a popcorn machine, and you can see Martin Jr., his last name right here. He did not start in this game, but yet again, he closed out the game. As I scroll over, you can see this whole red right here. This means that he played this entire fourth quarter. When it's red, when it's grayed out, that means they're not on the court. So he played the entire fourth quarter, and he actually played 5 minutes, the final 17 minutes of the game. This This is just kind of what KJ Martin's been doing. He's been playing a lot in the second quarter and basically playing the entire fourth quarter. And the game did not blow out. They lost by 12, but it was pretty close up until the last couple of minutes, right? I mean, in this game, Atlanta went on a 15-4 run and then a 5-0 run to close it out. So you actually had a lead. You actually had this game pretty much tied up towards the middle of the fourth quarter. So it was not a blowout, so I don't think that he got blowout run. He continues to close out the games. KJ Martin continues to be a productive player as well for this team. And now if they're only going to have like at best 9 bodies out there, might only have 8 bodies out there. He got 30 plus minutes in that last game. I'm going to project him for around 30 minutes in this game. Going to project him for around a fantasy point per minute producer. So Martin's going to start to project out for me for like 30 plus fantasy points. Our number 6 play on the day is going to be Dejante Murray, and it's as simple as this. DeRozan's still out. Aldridge is still out. The assist percentage goes up. The assist percentage starts to rival the 30% range. He's got a 1.4x multiplier in Superdraft. We fucking love to see that. And you're going to be getting him averaging about 1.2 fantasy points per minute, playing about 33 to 34 minutes today. So that's just going to project out nicely. The price point continues to drop, even though 40 fantasy points seems to be at ease for him if he does indeed play the entire game and get his 33 or so minutes. So what you're getting out of him in that last game, scores 42.5 fantasy points. Hell, if he does that at 7,500, that's not bad at all, right? Game before that, the game blows out, only plays 23 minutes. Dejante Murray, our number 6 play in the day, because you still have no DeRozan, you're getting secure minutes and good fantasy points per minute production. Also, not to mention that he's getting Chicago today, a pretty fine spot. Now let's get into the top 5 plays, and as we do, I just want to remind you, we do have projections, rankings, player pools. I showed them a little bit on Periscope yesterday. All those tools down below, not only for PGA, or not only for NBA, but also for PGA golf, for MMA. So check it all out. We also now have an optimizer, which I'm going to be putting on the screen right now. So this is the big energy optimizer. I know it might look kind of scary because it's so many numbers and letters and things like that, but it's pretty simple, right? You can just put everybody into your player pool right here. You can start to lock players in if you want to. There's some tools to be locking players in, and you can start to change some things like randomness in here. You can start to change some things like the max players that you want from each and every team. So randomness, the max players that you want from a specific team. You can get uniques. So there's a lot that you can do in here. You can get your max total lineup ownership right here if we zoom in, the amount of lineups, then you can generate it. There's a lot of cool things that can happen from this though, right? You can start to create player groups saying, hey, I don't want to get 2 centers from the same team, or I don't want to get, at most, I want to get 2 of these guards from the same team, right? You can start to set some rules to constrict your lineups to get more and more control over it. So just putting in some simple rules, no advanced groups, and just kind of projecting out yesterday's slate yet again. We get Tomas Sadaranski, who pop up. He looked really good yesterday. Oladipo was just basically meh. LeBron had a fine game. John Collins was great. Moses Brown, 50 burger, right? Emmanuel Quickly, fine game. KJ Martin, meh, although got the minutes. Montrezl Harrell, okay, right? So not a bad lineup just to pop up right away. And then obviously you get all your lineups, and towards the bottom, it'll show you your exposures. So we got 90% Moses Brown, which we're going to be taking that. I was like, the optimizer's giving us a lot. Some people are saying it. The optimizer's giving us a lot of Tomas Sadaranski and Moses Brown. We'll take it though. Based on what that performance ended up being. So you can check that out down below. It adds a lot of overall tools and power to what you can be doing. James Harden at 10,900 is our number 5 play. Look, Harden, Giannis, Jokic, they're all in play for me, right? I don't have Jokic on this, just spoiler alert, but he's in play for me as well. I just don't want to keep talking about all the top end guys because, I mean, they're just that good of plays. This is how they're ranking out. It's top 12 plays. Harden, he's been playing 40 minutes in all these games. At the very worst, you're getting 38 minutes. I'm projecting him for 38 minutes, around 1.55 fantasy points per minute today. And here's the awesome thing about Harden. Not only is he seeing a 44% assist percentage, he's becoming so secure to just drop you 55 plus points and 60 plus points because his rebounding rate without Durant now, assuming Durant's out again today, is up to 25% now. So not only is he scoring, taking the shot attempts, hitting his threes like normal, getting to the free throw line, 44% assists, and now a 25% defensive rebounding rate. It's just so hard for him to fail when so much is clicking. If he doesn't get the assists, well, he's got the rebounds, the 3-pointers, the shot attempts, right? If he doesn't get that, then he has the assists, right? It's just so crazy for how productive and how many outs he has to his game. Our number 4 play is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Look, Giannis Antetokounmpo playing 36 minutes is a problem. He's played 36 minutes in 3 out of his last 4 games. The only game he didn't, he still dropped like fucking 50 plus fantasy points because of a blowout where he only played 30 minutes. He gets Philadelphia without Embiid today. I like it. I like it a lot. I like Giannis a little bit more than Harden. We're taking, like we said on Prize Picks today, we're taking the over Giannis 55 points because I have him projecting out for around 60 plus points right now. So we'll be taking that. Honestly, if you want to take the over on Harden's 54 right now, I also like that, but I'm going to wait for more stats to come out in the day. So you can check that out down below. But Giannis, there's not much to break down here. He's going to play big minutes. If he plays big minutes, and I think likely will if the game stays close, his 36 minutes at 1.7 fantasy points a minute is just absolutely insane. The number 3 play on the day for you, the ladies and gentlemen, the fellas, and Mr. St. Patrick himself, Ivica Zubac. He doesn't pop up all that often. This is clearly assuming that you're not going to be having Serge Ibaka out there. And yesterday or 2 days ago in the last game, they got to face Dallas. They're playing them again, right? This is just a COVID schedule, playing teams in kind of back-to-back games. So now you're getting, if there's no Serge Ibaka, who's dealing with a back injury, by the way, so not something that's just easy and quick to come back from in like 2 or 3 days, depending on the significance, especially for an older player who's a center. So if he is out, you're going to get Ivica Zubac projecting out for me for around 30 minutes or so, maybe even a little bit more than that. Zubac so far this season is averaging 1.02 fantasy points a minute, and he has 815 minutes this year, basically all his minutes, with Serge Ibaka off the court. You're getting about a 24.5% defensive rebounding rate. You're getting about a 16% usage rate. You're just getting a quality producer who's now way too cheap at 4,500 and starts to become a priority at the center position. This is why it's a little bit easier to maybe not get away from a Nikola Jokic, but you have some cheap center value already, just like you did yesterday with Moses Brown. Now you already have cheap center value in Ivica Zubac, if no Ibaka, and Daniel Theis, if no Tristan Thompson. The double-double upside will definitely be there for Zubac, who takes a lot of easy shot attempts and should honestly be shooting probably somewhere around like 70% today because of how close he shoots to the basket. His true shooting percentage on the season is 70.4%, which is just nuts. Our number 2 play in the day, somebody who yesterday the optimizer loves, 70% we got from the optimizer, $3,800. The price point's still not high enough, assuming that he's going to continue to start now, and that is going to be Tomas Sadaranski, and we already talked about it. We have already talked about what Tomas Sadaranski is doing yesterday, so there's not much time we have to spend here. He played 30.5 minutes yesterday. He actually lost a minute and a half because of the blowout, so should have played 32 minutes. And the thing for Tomas Sadaranski, the reason why we like him so much as a value play is, yes, he started. So he's starting as a point guard. That's fantastic to see. But the assist percentage. The assist percentage is what we hung our hats on, right? And you can see it on the screen right now. I'll highlight Tomas Sadaranski right here, and then I'm going to zoom in. This is his assist percentage, 27.6. What does that mean? Well, like a good assist percentage is the second it hits the 20s. A really good is in the 30s. An elite is like James Harden in the 40s, right? 27.6% is a great out to your game. So when you're just shooting half decent and you're getting like 8 points for us, but then you're able to get 8 assists like Tomas Sadaranski was yesterday, well, there's an extra 12 points out of nowhere that a lot of other guys can't do because they don't have a quality assist percentage. So he gets you those 7, 8 assists. He gets you those extra 10 to 12 points. He's only scoring you 10 or 12 points in the game, real life points, but he's getting you there up into the 30 fantasy points back-to-back games because of that assist percentage. Now, our number 1 play is going to be Kevin Porter Jr. And look, there's going to be no Wall and Oladipo, as that's what the expectation is. I expect 38 plus minutes. He played 41 minutes yesterday with a lot of guys out. Now Oladipo's out. I'm expecting 38 plus minutes. I'm honestly expecting some massive fantasy point per minute. We only have a 61-minute sample with Kevin Porter Jr. on the Rockets without John Wall and without Oladipo, right? In that sample, he's averaging 1.31 fantasy points per minute. Now, obviously, that's only like a 2-game sample, but it's all that we have. I'm probably not projecting him for 1.3, but I'm not fully against it. But if I project him for 1.2 to 1.25 fantasy points per minute, and I give him, let's just say we project him, let's split the difference. Let's say 1.22 fantasy points per minute at 38 minutes today. Again, I think he can play more. He's going to start to project out for like 45 to 46 fantasy points for me at just $6,800. The price actually drops now, right? So assuming that the Rockets can field 8 men today, Kevin Porter Jr. is our top play in the day. He continues to be something that we get to because this Houston team just continues to not play fellas. So thank you for tuning in today. Hit the like and subscribe before you go. We'll be live today at 1 p.m. for some Golf talk. Take your questions, Q&A, and also live at about 4:30, 4:15 p.m. East Coast time to discuss with all of you. Take your questions and finish up this slate based on the news that is breaking. You all rock. I appreciate you for tuning in. Be sure to support the sponsor of the show. We'll be talking about Prize Picks more in the live stream later once all of their other props drop out, but we already have the over on Giannis 55 and the over right now on Colin Sexton at 31.5. So use that code SAL in the link below to get advantage or take advantage of that free money bonus up to $100. Check out the optimizer and some of the other tools that we were showing throughout the video. Link down below on Patreon, patreon.com/Sal_Vetri_. You all rock, and I'll see you in the next one. Pop your chains out there if you just don't care. Dance around in the air if you just don't care. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but we out here.